teacher!
So we are going to start our English project right now. So see you in a minute.
Hello, my teacher. I'm going to tell you about cleaning facility. First of all, this facility was built during the third period of Gazhane between 1952 and 1968. Planned and built together with the vertical chamber Picard furnace battery, which was put into service between 1954 and 1956. The S building was used as a cleaning facility consisting of two parts. The main part of the building is the space with the wide windows. The second part consists of filter silos, pipelines and track on the platform, reinforced with the concerned codes. Most of the original infiltration and separation machines which been preserved. The indoor space of the facility has charred aluminum separators, whereas the outdoor space holds the chemical cleaners with soil solvent strainers. And we're gonna
Film this space.
For Eko Başkan. Mehmet teacher.
Children make picture
Her şey çok güzel oldu.
about him.
Yes, because of the this
The bio saturation in
we're not alone. Ekrem amca.
Uncle.
Uncle Ekrem.
We are going to
Mehmet teacher, everything's gonna be fine. This creation made by Kemal Tufan is called Mavi Uçmak. It's made in 2020. Now we are going to the museum. There's a Climate Museum, and we.
Building of the Climate Museum, we explain the history of climate change, how the sea gases causing the climate change and temperature are increasing, which human activities produce the most greenhouse gases, the impacts of climate change, what diseases it could be caused.
This part about what's climate, how does it change? This room will begin by explaining the difference between weather and the climate. It continues to detail how to correction of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and temperature are measured. These measurements in turn reveal the fundamental of how the climate system works and how the climate changes. We believe that it is the indispensable to learn and disseminate scientific information in order to combat climate change. Climate change is caused by human activities such as energy and heat generation due to burning fossil fuels.
The energy from the sun and the electromagnetic spectrum. Heat is a type of an energy. Objects radiate heat in proportion to their temperature, dissipate their energy into space and tend to cool down. Radiation is the dissipation of energy via electromagnetic waves. Objects that are too hot radiate visible light. As an object cools down, it becomes orange then red. The radiation is cooler objects becomes invisible infrared radiation. Since Earth is not too hot, it emits infrared radiation. High energy shortwave radiation is dangerous and ionizing.
This part about the difference between climate and weather. The weather refers to the short-term conditions of the atmosphere. This is the specific weather condition experienced at the given moment. While climate refers to the average patterns and condition of a place in a long period of time. For example, I live in something from the earth, and if 15 years passed and my climate is being changed.
The climate affected by all the parts of Earth and system that is the atmosphere, oceans and land, and the relations between organisms living these. As you can see, this is like the cycle, the living organisms, and so in this part, the Earth system includes atmosphere, oceans, and geosphere and biosphere. The atmosphere, the Earth's atmosphere is composed 78% nitrogen, 21 nitrogen, and oxygen, and 0.9% argon and other gases. So this is the increasing in this atmosphere, I mean, and this one and geosphere. Extremely, 71% of air surface is covered with the seawater, and this is the all the water and other combined like seas, oceans are in this sphere, and geosphere. Geosphere is a solid part of the earth, and this is why the all mountains, like valleys, are combined by in this sphere. And biosphere. Biosphere includes all the living organisms in our planet, and billions years ago, the Earth's atmosphere was insignificant.
This is our planet, and we going to do Feyza and
I'm
Feyza.
going to tell you about the energy balance of the Earth. The energy balance refers to equilibrium between the energy the planet receives from the sun and the energy it radiates back into space. Incoming, the solar radiation is absorbed by the Earth's surface and atmosphere, then remains as a heat. When this balance is disturbed, it can lead to climate change, such as global warming. And this part is about this.
I'm going to tell you about hydraulic cycle. The water cycle is the movement of water and earth. Water evaporates, forms clouds throughout the concentration, and falls back to the ground as a preparation. This water then collects in rivers, lakes, and the oceans, continuing the cycle. And the water cycle is like that. When the water is going to the trees and going transpiration, and it's going to the concentration and transformation, the precipitation. And this is the cycle of the hydraulic.
Carbon cycle. Carbon cycle among the atmosphere, biosphere, oceans, and the living organisms. And the carbon added to the atmosphere is all by the human activity. And there's still more carbon in the fossil fuels in the underground. And permafrost, soil, and forests contain large volume of carbon. Therefore, if they melt, destroy, or burn, this could increase the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, and this is also be a disaster for humans. And as you can see, this is the carbon cycle, like volcanism, atmosphere. This all amount to carbon cycle.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm going to tell you about the greenhouse effect and greenhouse gases. We call the gases that warm the atmosphere greenhouse gases. Humans can change the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The most important and the most common of the greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide enters the atmosphere most commonly via the burning of coal, oil, or natural gases, fossil fuels, forest fires, and agricultural lands also contribute to the increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Among the other greenhouse gases are methane, nitrous oxide, and other gases originating from the industrial process. That's it.
How is temperature measured? The temperature of the Earth can be measured through methods. One is via thermometer at a ground station. The other via measuring infrared radiation by satellites. When both methods are employed together, this provides the most accurate results.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about causes of the climate change. The climate change is mainly caused by human activities. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gases release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These gases trap heat and make the Earth's temperature rise. Deforestation also contributes by reducing the number of trees and absorb carbon dioxide. As a result, global weather patterns become more extreme and unpredictable. and this is the world's biggest problem in these years.
This is Leistoraurus. Climate change in the past and the reason for mass extinction. The only large vertebrate that survived the third and largest mass extinction 2,251 million years ago in the thought to be Leistoraurus. In the fifth and final mass extinction 66 million years ago, all of the dinosaurs went extinct. 5 mass extinctions have occurred over the last 542 million years since the Earth has been covered with plants and animals. Today, due to the rapid loss of habitat, pollution, and climate change, many species go extinct over a very short period of the time, decreasing the Earth's biodiversity.
I'm gonna looking for the video of this. This is the dinosaurs. Like,
The sun's contribution to temperature change on the Earth. Since the Galileo's time, we have known that energy emitted by the sun fluctuations. The reason behind this change are well understood by scientists. Over the last 40 years, the energy emitted by the sun has been decreasing ever so slightly. And in this graphic, we can follow the relationship between the change in the energy received from the sun and global temperature. The sun is the green one, and the global temperature is the red one. This is over last 140 years. And what are the sunspots? Do they affect the climate change? So the sun magnetic field is not as stable on Earth. This means the magnetic field lines coming out of the certain parts of the sun, and on spots where magnetic field lines are come out and enter back the surface of the temperature of the sun, and is slightly lower, and these spots are seen as dark spots when extracted from the Earth. That is all.
This board is about what is the radiant forcing. The Earth receives experimentally to 342 watts of energy from the sun per square meter. In order for Earth's surface to maintain its temperature, it should emit 332 watts divided by meter square of energy. If the incoming energy from the sun and the outgoing energy from the Earth are not equal, the average temperature of the Earth changes. In climate science, the difference between incoming energy and outgoing energy is called climate forcing or radiative forcing. This difference forces the climate change. We measure climate forcing with the same unit. We measure incoming and outgoing energy. Watt divided by meter square. When gathering all of this information, we see that the sum of all climate forcing factors is 2.72 watts divided by meter square in the warming equation. Although this is the only 0.67% of the energy that the Earth receives from the sun. This amount enters the climate system every second, and it slowly increases the average temperature of the Earth day by day. Some global warming. Typhoon Haiyan, Kenya Blue, California wildfires, US influence, cyclone.
Going to the other buildings in Gazhouse because there's so many
Buildings there.
and museums, and we're going to tell you about it.
The facility was built during the third period of the Gazhane between 1952 and 1968. It was construction adjacent to P building in order to provide the weather necessary for cooling down the coal. Coming out of the Pickard battery, which was the gashouse, first vertical chamber, fusion system.
And this is a cooling down. This is a building of it. And we can't get in.
Name all of the people there.
We can't.
We can't go there.
And this is some buildings. There's so many wagons and there's something there. So big. There's a hole in there. And there was, I think there was a gas just came out there and they take it or like fossil fuels or coal. Yes.
Furnace. This furnace was added following investigation of the system conducted in 1957 as the facility with the largest production capacity in the gas house. This furnace building used a heater water battery. This vertical furnace battery, also known as the machine building, came into service in 1963. This vertical furnace is a complex system built in cleaning facilities, cold transfers, differential shifting, and was designed to work together with reinforced transfer structures. This furnace was in the service until the facility was closed. Some parts of the furnace system were lost after the building was abandoned in 1995. And there is the furnace. There's a hole in there. There's coal.
Yeah, thank you.
This building is Coke Transport Crashing Shifting Unit. This building was built during the third period of the gas house between 1952 and 1968. And we're going to get in there. I hope there's no getting. I can't see it, but there's a rope. We can't get in there. I'm gonna look into there, all of it. This is so big building, and it's made by. We can look at for it again. It's made by Coke Transport Crashing and Shifting Unit, and we're going to do this building. I don't know what is it, but we're gonna look for it. We can get in there. And what's in there? There's a, I don't know. It's something different. And there's a place on the ground. You can see it.
Before, but there's a water cooling unit. This structure was built in as cooling tower between 1952 and 1968 during the third period of the gas house. This cooling tower operated using the Didier work battery, which was the furnace building of the largest production facility of the gas house. The cooling tower was used to cool the water and was used to cool down the coke coming out of the furnace before it was delivered to the crushing shifting facility. And you can see we're going to the museum. This museum is Climate Museum 2. And Faiza is going up, and I'm going up to there. There's so many climate museum because this is a big problem for our future, and it's gonna tell about it all. I'm gonna get up, and this is the museum, if you can see.
And we're going to get in. And there's a number is in there. And we're gonna ask her what's there. I'm gonna tell you a little bit. There's so many things here. You can see so many information about climate change. When the sea levels high. You can see read all the information about it, and there's so many places like that. So many people get information about climate change because in so many in Turkey they don't know what's climate change and they didn't do something about it. And because there's another place up there, and you can see there's no plan B. We haven't had a second plan, and we have to be produce our planet and there's minimum. So there's a glass there. Yes. You can see that we explained this was reading there, but the first of all you can see there's so many information about, for example, public heat. Public heat is due to climate change, which depends the effects of exciting social and economic disadvantages means that elderly and people with chronic disease are more adversely affected in terms of health. Heat, the direct effects of climate change on heat like this. Something that's in natural disaster is some bugs or something like this. Basically, some viruses and bacteria and we get sick. And this is a big problem because these bugs because of the climate change, and there's so many bugs like that. It's so bad for us.
You can also see the intense
Yes.
Next, tell us possible effects of climate change. There's extreme weather events, heat waves, work safety, air quality. Air quality is so important for our health because we smoke the atmospheric air and give us some bad gases. Terms of the food and waterborne infections. It's a big problem for humans. Disease transmitted by vectors, and this is the biggest problem for
Socioeconomic impact of the climate change. Climate change has varying effects on the Earth system, including increasing temperatures and changing precipitation regimes. Melting of sea ice and glacier areas, acidification of oceans, rising sea levels, spring of the arid areas, and desertification. Changing climate zones and loss of biodiversity. All of these physical and biological effects seriously affect and impair the body and fluid. Similarly, food, health, and close also like the human society. The socioeconomic effects of climate change, like its physical and biological effects, are global and affect the world. However, these effects are not enough distributed isolated in the ocean. Cause especially low altitude mountains and coast plains, forest arid regions, and the Mediterranean region, including Turkey, are among the most sensitive geographies to the effects of climate change.
And there is something like that. The Mediterranean over the ice level,
Rising sea level and acidification of oceans.
you get this inside,
Melting of-
and it's wave sound about the sea. And there is a table to show us global fires. Global fires. Sorry, teacher, because asking English. In
Climate change, because climate reason climate
in
change.
common, in the social extension, I have difficult to talk. Economic effects of the climate crisis. Burada da iklim krizinin ekonomik etkilerinden bahsediyoruz. Economic effects. Diyor ki, if climate change is left unchecked, it could cost the world as much as 5 to 20% of global income each year. However, just 1 or 2% of global income each year is sufficient to combat global warming. If changes are implemented immediately and the results are obtained in the shorter term, the cost will be lower and the change of status will be higher. Many reports agree that we have until 2030 at the latest to successfully tackle the climate crisis and social and economic effects of climate change. You can see a word like this. It's about damages coastal and islands, security of weather, decreased agricultural production, decreasing farmers' income due to crop losses as well. Wars and conflicts triggered moving settlements, decreased work, extreme weather events and disasters, increased health expenditures, for example, COVID-19 maybe a year ago, decreased tourism revenues due to increasing temperatures. Yes, Eylül, we am listening to you.
The reason I check it, we must check it in the climate change.
Yes, thank you. And there's some picture. Oh, koala. A marsupial space endemic to Australia. It lives in Echolpis Purse and its height is 85 centimeters. It was listed by endangered species after more than 5,000 individuals died in the
2019-2020.
Australian bushfires. And a quarter of its population was affected by the fires. Maalesef, unfortunately, koala is burned this. Yes. You can see the global warming effects.
Yes, temperature below maximum.
Day to day, it's getting it's getting irritated, and people do not know what they are doing.
Yes.
We are going to the bed, but
Yeah.
no one.
No one.
Farkında.
No one.
Teacher,
did this.
sorry. We are so stressed about the talking, and some words are etched to my tongue and his tongue, and we can talk. So sorry. We don't do this. 20 large climate disasters of the last 20 years. European heat wave, Hurricane Katrina, floods in Pakistan, heat wave and megaforest fires in Russia, Joplin tornado USA, forest fires in Portugal and Spain, Atlantic hurricane season, super typhoon Hurricane Sandy, flood in East Africa, flood and hailstorm in Istanbul, mudslide in Sierra Leone, cyclone Idai, Australian bushfires, Hurricane Ian, flood in Western Black Sea region, forest fires in Turkey, floods in Germany and Belgium, wildlife riots in California, submarine riots.
The 19th century, we know that the climate can change under the influence by human activity. We have known besides the first half of the 20th century that the world atmosphere is warming due to the increasing of the effects of the greenhouse gases. As you can see, the effects of the
Emissions.
climate change.
Greenhouse gas emissions, climate models, IPCC reports, and we can looking for the peoples can do what they do, the scientific things or some conference and some agreements like that. Better tell us what's there.
Yeah, so this is the news, like
Uh,
as this part, this is the closest years of the about the climate change essays like that. So as we mentioned about the global climate strike, after the greater surface heights crisis across the world, extremely 1.5 billion children of March 15th and 6 billion people including adults lived together. 2015, the Paris Agreement, as we can see, the 2010's most important agreements for the climate change. As we walk, there is important revolutions, as I can say revolutions about the climate change, and everyone knows Kyoto Protocol. This is the third conference of the parties for the United Nations Parliament Consultation on the Climate Change in Kyoto. And at the end of this conference, the Kyoto Protocol has announced it, and all the countries have signed this protocol. And the other revolutions throughout the conference. This is the first international conference bringing together scientists and government authorities to discuss climate change in Toronto. And PPM, like, this is the all important things. But as we mentioned, this, Joseph Fortier, this is the first scientist and mathematician that calculate the Earth's temperature. This is the first scientists that do that. As mentioned, guys, through the calendar, this is the first English engineer that explored the calculated temperatures measures throughout the 19th century. That shows the global temperature increase over the last 50 years. This is all about history of the climate change.
Yes. In this whole, the source of greenhouses, gas emissions, and that cause climate change and thought from the basic of climate policies, the responsibility of sectors, countries, and social segments, emotional stimulus is a feature according to different standards, and the carbon work to discuss it. Greenhouse gas emissions. And
You can also see about the gas stations,
yeah, probably.
and it smells like burning. My nose are burning.
Yeah, that's so bad.
We can also see some pictures, artist pictures, and we can also show his biography there.
So, aşağı yaptık mı?
There's a lightning there, and some of I can't take. Okay. It's so hard, and I can't take that.
So that's
Yes. We can see all emissions about the
China is so popular, most
about the country.
responsible
Annual
emissions.
greenhouse gas emissions by country. It's the text about. Today, China, the world's most populous country, is responsible for 26% of greenhouse gas emissions, and the United States, which has the highest historical responsibility for climate change, is responsible for 13%. These countries are followed by the European Union, India, and Russia. Turkey is among the top 20 most population countries emitting 1% of global emissions.
Unfortunately, it's affected in Turkey. Global
Yes.
emissions.
Unfortunately, that's so sad. Annual carbon dioxide emissions by country. China and the United States are responsible for 43% of global carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide emissions experimentally 40 billion tons per year. Turkey runs unfortunately
fifth among
15th
5 countries. 195 countries.
Sometimes it's happen. It's Mesut düşmesi.
Yeah,
English,
I don't know,
we don't know what
English
it means in
meaning.
English.
And according for 1 billion 2% of carbon emissions.
Countries average per capita carbon footprint. Ülkelerin per capita emissions are calculated by dividing countries. Annual greenhouse gas carbon dioxide. Eyüp, can you take this? Film this area.
Okay.
Şu. Carbon dioxide emissions by their population size. This model shows the average carbon footprint of a country's inhabitants and is especially important for comparing industrialized and developing or underdeveloped countries. However, since this is an average value, it does not show the individual carbon footprint resulting from income inequality and unequal computation within the country. The world's average per capita carbon dioxide emissions are nearly 5 tons. Turkey's per capita emissions are 5.24 tons, slightly above the world average.
That's it.
Responsibility of G20 countries. And look at
The map.
there's a map there about this situation.
2/3 of the world's population live in the G30 group countries, which are among the largest economies in the world, consisting of 90 countries, including Turkey and the European Union. G20 countries have 90% of global economic income and responsible for 84% of global carbon
Yes,
emissions.
you can also see a map about these situations, and you can also see a source of graphic about
G20,
that. Okay. You done your.
G20 countries are considered criminal responsibility for international climate reactions. That's it.
We are coming for the share of emission by socio-economic group. Sosyoekonomik gruplardan bahsedebiliriz. Buyurun. Indonesia's carbon footprint or consumption emissions are larger among wealthier socio-economic groups. The richest 10% of the world's population is responsible for half of all carbon emissions. The per capita carbon emissions, the richest 1% are about 50 tons, 10 times the world average. Some picture there. Look at the classifications difference.
Yes.
Someone in the underwater walk so hard, but someone in you have her or her.
They are rich.
Yes, they are rich and they have own
Yeah.
jet. It's one of the most important things about the carbon emissions higher.
Oh, okay.
We are coming from the emissions scenario. In the possible development scenario of the IPCC is the 67th report. Global carbon dioxide emissions will double in 2050. In the middle of the broad scenario, emissions are projected to remain at the same level until 2050 and then decline. In the best case scenario, emissions are projected to decrease by half in 2030 and then reach net zero in 2050. Only in the best case scenario will global temperature rise and remain below 1.5 degrees. And there's a graphic there. I like the colors. Look at these colors. Yeah, it's impressed me.
Yeah.
I think. But,
Okay, I understand. And
if you want, you talk about this. I will change.
in the best case scenario, sufficiency or SSP1, 1,900,000 of the reports the global temperature rise with the research, 1,005 degrees in the 2030 has, but it will start to cool down and fall below 1,500,000 degrees after 2050 in the middle of the road and rocky road scenarios, which are close in the line with countries' emissions reduction targets outlined in their national determined contributions. Some mentioned under the Paris Achievement, global temperature rise will and about 2 degrees at the end of this century. To limit global warming is 1 degrees, 1/2 degrees. Countries need to improve their targets and global economy needs to be decarbonized by 2050. And the Paris Achievement climate change attended Turkey, you know that. And they have which will be
They have determined about they are determined about
Yeah.
these situations. and therefore the carbon dioxide emissions remain in the atmosphere for at least 100 years. Therefore, it is accepted that almost all the carbon dioxide releases since the industrial revolution, except for the half absorbed by seas, has accumulated in the atmosphere. According to IPCC, total historical emissions should not exceed 2.100. Sorry.
2,790.
2,790 billion tons. To keep the average temperature rise
Yes, based on the video, but there was the information about it. I'm going to tell you about some pictures about it. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitric oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, aluminum production, secondary manufacturing, substrate of ozone substance. Like that, there's so many information about climate change, the greenhouse gas emission. And there's something like based on videos tell us about what's in there. I'm going to see you what we can do. And this earth is our, and we have a second planet, and we have to take care of our planet. And
we had a mistake. We tried to get down and film there, and they had a upstairs to film there, and I think Bella and Ayşe is film there.
we have to come to glass house because of the what we can do, what we have to do for our planet. It's just so sad because we lost our earth, and we have to take care of our planet, and we don't know what we have to do. Because so many people don't know about climate change. What is the climate change? They don't know, and
How
they
to affect people around us. And this is so exhausting kind of the you're in this world and you can't see this
harmful things.
Yes.
You don't see the harmful things because you think like this is fine. Everybody use this, and I have to use this. And like a car, there's so many cars on planets, and it's so bad for our atmosphere.
Yes.
And we use it all the day, and it is so sad because everyone use something for example like it's popular, and they don't know what's its effect for our planet. They do not think about it, and they never see what we have to do. Go for the series on there's climate change, communication, solutions, and activism. We're going to tell you about it, and there's some words about people say, and Vera and I.
This one is about the cultural effects of climate change, like stockings and books and romance about climate change.
I'm going to tell you about some person, some young people, Greta. Greta she's an activist, and I remember that she get with a boat to the sea to sleep in the sea in the boat. I don't remember everything about it, but I know her for like that. There's some books. Okay.
I watched especially two of these movies, especially this is so good. If you want to watch a climate change movie, this is not boring or this is not, you can do this is so bad. It's not like that, but this is so good. And very famous
Actors and like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence. Everybody knows these actors, and this is like good things because people think like does Leonardo DiCaprio play this role or Jennifer Lawrence play this role. I have to watch it because if they play that in that movie, it have to be good like that.
and this series is so good. I recommend
There's
it.
Chris Evans plays that. Chris Evans is like he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And we're gonna continue to there's so many pictures and so many like energy translation and renewable. And every country should set economy-wide emissions reducing targets to meet the 1.5 degrees target in the Paris Agreement. Net greenhouse gas emission must be halved globally by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. And we in the 2025, and there's a 5 year to the 2030, and I think like we do not something about that problem. And we're going.
We have a caricatures here. So meaningful. I mean, this is so funny about. Look at this.
World leaders write commitments by private jets. Major British made this.
Made by education. Yeah. Don't cut planets.
So the planet cuts in here, and you can see because this is because of the sea levels higher because of the global warming, and they say there's a climate crisis. The weather is nice for us. Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you about. It looks like a president of Turkey, because for him, every time it's the weather nice for us.
You do it.
And
We do it.
we're gonna go the backside. Keep pacifist in the ground. Keep it in the ground. There's some books you can see,
Like some brochures.
and I'm gonna continue to some. There's some papers. There's a radio. This radio is about first media channel in Turkey to feature regular broadcast in climate change in its Açık Radio, open radio, broadcasting in 95.0 FM. Açık Radio, which was established in 1985 as a community radio. It's like that. You can see there's a radio about climate change, all the all the weather things or iklim haberler, which follows and publish current developments in climate science, politics, and economy. Like the Yeşil Gazete, they do one of the leading internet newspaper that regularly covers the climate crisis. Like there's so many things that the people can do, but it's presidents or they don't know what they don't do something about it. They cover it up, and we just watching what happens for our future. You can see climate movement in Turkey. There is the first movement in 1984-89, formation of the Climate Action Network. İklim Eylemi Ağı'nın kuruluşu. And there's a in the coming to the near of our 2025, there's 2019 climate strikes leads by children and youth in Turkey. There's something like that. And we're gonna continue reduce energy consumption in buildings and protect and regulate nature. International climate politics. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was adopted in Rio de Janeiro. The conference as the parties began. The Kyoto Protocol was adopted. We tell you about what's Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol entered into force in the 15th century conference of the parties in Copenhagen. Works on the new agreement failed. And why failed? They don't do something about it. They think like some money. We need money to do this, and I don't want to give the money. They think like that. Negotiations started again in COP16 in Cancun. The Paris Agreement, the new climate agreement under the UNFCCC was adopted in COP21. We tell about Paris Agreement, but it's COP26 in Glasgow. The real book of the Paris Agreement and the Glasgow Climate Pact were adopted. And we see that there's some words sent by Antonio Guterres. He's UN Secretary General. Our planet is fast approaching tipping points that will make climate chaos impossible. We are on a highway to climate hill with our foot on the accelerator. And there's Gazhane and looking and reading all the information. And that's it.
Look, there is a bookshop there. They sell a book or something. I think there is a workshop too.
I want to buy it. You love it.
And we're gonna get in the workshop of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk by shooting star in the darkness. I love him so much. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, shooting star in the darkness. Yeah. What we can we just write something there. Paragraph 8 and write something there, and I'm gonna look for you the pictures about it. This is the picture about the original follower Bob Colmer and the Ghost Pasha, the commander of the Dardanelles, the Pertwell, the Mehran Pasha, taken with Mustafa Kemal was a captain. This is Mustafa Kemal's Trablusgarp, Harbında, Selanik. You can see there's so many Pasha right there. Mustafa Kemal, Macedonia, Mustafa Kemal right there. And there's France. There's Mustafa Kemal, he's right there. And there's on the first group, Commander Colonel Mustafa Kemal and his aide. And you can see Çanakkale. There's some maps. And Mustafa Kemal with teacher and students in Edirne. What's Mustafa Kemal? And there's some health report. And I'm gonna tell you in Turkish, but I'm Reis Cumhurbaşkanı Atatürk saat 17:30 dakika vaziyeti sıhhiyesinin mucibi memnuniyettir. Hararet 38.7, nabız 98'dir. Gündüz birkaç saat iyi uyumuşlardır. Konjesyon halleri azaldı. Kendilerine bir hardal lapası ve bir tane de lalet arasında soğuk geçirmesi yapıldı. What's that? Measure blood pressure. Belong to the Oxford Dr. Ömer İrdal Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's medical doctor. Some newspaper base. Some money. I had looked forward to this, yeah, just like a child looking forward to this laboratory. To my surprise, it will happen to become a hospital for me. And Beryl.
I'm so happy again.
We lost our Atatürk. We lost our father. And this Atatürk.
To look like the most aesthetic signature of the Atatürk.
We just have a place for Atatürk here. I can't talk about that because there's a gallery and Time newspapers, Canvas newspaper, and Atatürk. It's significant difference. It's kind of walking stick. And it's like a nice toy. Thanks. Supporting thing. As you can see. Oh, Atatürk. This is a really famous picture of Atatürk. Father of the Turks. And there's- Turkish one with the writing Long live Mustafa Kemal Pasha. Closed, but there's a theater, art gallery. Like you can see, there's an art gallery. There's a theaters, city theaters, like, and that's it. There's a parking space, and we finished all the what's the glass house. There's a library. There's so many places so people or students can work in for finals or exams like that. You can see. That's it. We finished our English project, teacher. We're going to the back side of the glass house, and there's a
I think.
I don't know.
Colorful building.
Yes. There's a yes. Library. Finish our project, teacher. Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye, teachers.